The 6-meter band, that is the 50 MHz band, is affectionately known in amateur radio community as the magic band. It sits at the boundary between the high frequency HF and very high frequency VHF spectrums, exhibiting the stable local characteristics of VHF most of the time, only to suddenly open with long distance propagation that rivals the best HF bands. Why is it the magic band? The nickname stems from the band's unpredictable nature. For weeks, 6 meters may behave like a line of sight frequency, useful only for local FM or digital chatter. Then, without warning, a shift in the ionosphere can allow a low power station to work across continents or even to the other side of the globe. Understanding the magic requires knowing how signals travel. Unlike lower bands that rely consistently on the F2 layer, 6 meters utilizes several distinct phenomena. Sporadic E. This is the bread and butter of 6 meter DX. It occurs when clouds of intense ionization form in the E layer of the ionosphere, about 90 to 120 kilometers up. Peak periods occur during the summer solstice months May to August in the northern hemisphere, and a shorter peak in December-January. Typically 700 to 2500 km per hop. Double hop E sporadic can span 5000 kilometers. Signals are often incredibly strong, allowing even modest setups to make contacts. Trans-equatorial propagation. For stations located within 2500 km of the geomagnetic equator, trans-equatorial propagation is a reliable way to cross the equator into the opposite hemisphere. Signals are refracted by bulges in the ionosphere on either side of the equator, equatorial anomaly, which is a high concentration of electrons on either side of the equator in the region of 10 to 20 degrees latitude. Usually occurs in late afternoon and evening hours during the equinoxes, March and September. A station in southern Asia might find sudden openings to northern Australia or vice versa. F2 layer propagation. This is the holy grail of 6 meters, occurring only during the peaks of the 11-year solar cycle. Solar cycle 25. As we move through 2026, we are in a period of high solar activity. This allows the F2 layer to become dense enough to reflect 50 MHz signals back to Earth. This mode allows for true worldwide communication, connecting continents with relatively low power. Tropospheric ducting. While more common on 2 meters and 70 centimeter, temperature inversions in the lower atmosphere can trap 6 meter signals, allowing them to follow the curvature of the Earth over water or flat land for several hundred kilometers. The digital revolution, FT8 on 6 meter. The advent of FT8 has fundamentally changed 6 meter operating. Because FT8 can decode signals well below the noise floor, down to minus 24 decibels, it can see openings that are invisible to the human ear on SSB or CW. Frequency 50.313 MHz is the global hub for FT8 activity. If the band looks dead, check 50.313 MHz. Often the magic is happening digitally long before it becomes audible. Equipment and antennas. Horizontal polarization is standard for weak signal work SSP CW digital to reduce man-made noise. A simple 3-element Yagi or even a Moxon rectangle provides significant gain over a dipole. Getting the antenna above local obstructions is crucial for local and tropospheric work, though sporadic E signals often arrive at high angles and are less height dependent. How to spot an opening. Monitor beacons. Listen to the 50 to 50.080 MHz segment. If you hear a distant beacon's call sign in Morse code, the band is open to that region. Why is the 10 meter band? Because 28 MHz is lower in frequency, it usually opens first. If 10 meters is roaring with short skip signals, keep a close eye on 6 meters. DX clusters and PSK reporter. Use real-time maps to see where other stations are making contacts. The magic mindset. The 6-meter band rewards the patient and the persistent. Openings can last for hours or vanish in 3 minutes. Keep your rig on in the background, watch the waterfalls, and be ready to jump in on a signal the moment it emerges from the noise.